and gentlemen, hang on. There's my mic. Forgot to do that. How are you? What's the date? It's the 10th of May, 2022. Welcome to BBC Spews live. The only one we do now because fucking Susan's got me by the plums, the bitch. Who's in? Thanks to my moderators, Kate Sadwings and Ragnar, if they're in. Whiskey Straight Al's in. How you doing? Carl Pollard, Kirky Bally, Scouts Obi, upstanding member. We've got enough talk of cock in this fucking channel. Please don't mention the member. Or does my mind just go there? Standing member? Okay, maybe. Anyway, Deb's Red, how are you? Mark McCoy, Ginger Mongoose, Lee Brown, Carl Burton, Davey Mitchell, The Sash, TikTok, Jeff Wedden, Matt Oliver, JVPA, Davey Lampard, Winston Smith, Yakub, Derek, Vivian Needle, anybody else who I've missed, sorry, but there's loads of yous now. Oh, Sped West, I like that name. Sped West, I'll tell you, that man knew how to lay a patio. Right. This one I've popped up straight away. Although I haven't done an opening tirade, I almost always do an opening tirade. What can I do today? I was talking to my good pal Ryan about the Northern Ireland elections. I'm hoping we can just have a chat and I'll tape and release that because I think it'd be worthwhile. But suffice it to say, I think I have a slightly more nuanced take on things than Simon Sideways. As eloquent as the Reverend always is, and I did enjoy listening to his last video about it, I do have a more nuanced take on it. I think from spending a lot of time over there, and I deployed to Northern Ireland when I was a young lad. I was only 20, I think. It was my first operational tour. It had a profound effect on me. Certainly, looking back with the wisdom of age, I think I was aggressively anti-Irish as a result of it for 5 or 6 years, because the hatred that was directed towards me was quite staggering. I remember being on kneel down outside a post office in Forkhill, which is obviously in South Armagh, bandit country. And I remember a young lass walked out, and I was still only like 20 or whatever, like a kid. And I was like, "Morning, love." And she went, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Like proper had a go at me. And I was taken aback by it. I was like, "I don't know, but it draws its fucking face on with a marker pen, you silly cow." I think that was the start of it. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have responded aggressively, but that's the type of bloke that I am. And then I look at it now, and with the wisdom of age, and it saddens me that so many people are so quick to be antagonistic, because ultimately, I think you can ignore what the Irish and the Scottish nationalists say about blood. The shit they come out with, to me, is as ridiculously black and white as the stuff that any hardcore irrational nationalist comes out with. And I consider myself a nationalist in the regard that I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting the best for your own people and your own nation. But I draw the line when you start putting blood into it. And I think what's a demonstrable fact, certainly when you look at my DNA, which being English, I'm not fucking interested in at all. You meet American people out here who are like, let me tell you, I'm fucking 1/17th Cherokee and I'm 1/10th fucking French Canadian, and my great grandpa came over on the fucking Mayflower, although I need a few more greats in there. Europeans don't really care, do they? But my missus got me one for like a birthday present or something. I think I've talked about that. It was when it was to make a point, because I was discussing it with my mother-in-law, and she told me that the DNA tests were fake. She was like, "Oh, no, my friend said they're all bollocks, them DNA tests, because my mate is definitely 1/20th Cherokee," or whatever it was. I need to wet my whistle early. I went for a run this morning. And she's definitely 1/12th Cherokee, but when she got her DNA test results back, she was only like 0.1% Native American. So they're definitely fake and they have a European bias. So I said, right, oh, then. So I was living in California at the time. It was like, I'll send me fucking spit in a tube. And they have no way of knowing that a bloke living in California is a recent immigrant from the UK. So I'll send it in and we'll see what color it is. I mean, fuck knows why anyone would think a company wants to skew the results so that you think that you're more European than you actually are. But these are the mad conspiracy theories people come up with in America nowadays. Might be linked to white privilege or some shit. Anyways, sure enough, it came back. And it was like 66% was English, Welsh, Scottish. And then the rest, being Northern, was Scandinavian, which is exactly what you'd expect. More than Irish, if I remember rightly. It was like, I think I was somewhat like 18% Norwegian and like 6% Irish, which was a big surprise because you would expect there'd be more Irish in Borough, where loads of workers came from Ireland back in the day when they found steel in the hills. So that was a big surprise to me, but not that much of a surprise because obviously the Northeast is where our Scandinavian pals got started early on, isn't it? But the point I'm making is about the whole blood thing. The really sort of really frightening part of the Irish and Scottish nationalist movement seems to be that insistence of somehow that the English are not the same as them. And any Englishman who takes a fucking DNA test, ethnically English, by the way, obviously fucking Idris Elba will get slightly different results than than Bobby McDog shit from fucking Hartlepool. But we aren't. You know, the Scottish, the Irish, the Welsh, and the English have been fucking each other for at least 10,000 years. So when you get a DNA test done, if you're an Englishman, typically you are going to have a wide assortment in there, and then of course you'll probably have a bit of French and a bit of Italian and Spanish. I think I had like 1% from other places, Iberian Peninsula and all that shit. But typically we are all linked in. So this idea that the English are somehow different from the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish is factually incorrect. And so I don't feel as strongly about it as the really rabid nationalists do. However, I understand where they are coming from. And I think any person that's considers themselves to be a conservative, which by definition all of us have a somewhat nationalistic streak, you would struggle, if you think about things logically, to not understand the mindset of both the Irish nationalists and the Ulstermen. Because obviously, when you're a working class bloke who feels ethnically a kinship with the inhabitants of either of those places, you can understand both sides of the argument, can't you? I do have a more nuanced take on it than most because of my career choices. As I've said before, if I was born and raised in Afghanistan, I'd probably be in the Taliban. Right? I guarantee if I was born and raised in fucking Crossmaglen, I'd be a chippy fucking little bastard who would be the type of kid that would join fucking Pyro and throw bricks at the squaddies. I totally understand where they're coming from. But the argument I always put forward to people that consider themselves reasonable is the exact opposite from the loyalist side. You know, ultimately, the plantation of Ulster occurred over 400 years ago, and the genesis of the plantation of Ulster was before even that. Queen Elizabeth, fucking hell, it started 1,000 years ago. All the Vikings went through Ireland, went north round the top, didn't they, and fucking sailed straight in. And then mercenaries were hired to go over from other parts of the British Isles to go and fight them, and then they never went home. So the plantation of Ulster was over 400 years ago, and even that wasn't the beginning, the genesis of this problem. So you can understand both sides of that if you're a rational person. And I don't think waxing lyrical about it as if it's not a complex debate serves any purpose. I fully understand the Republican Irishman argument. If you're from 10 generations of fucking Catholics, and you're from fucking Crossmaglen, Forkhill, anywhere in South Armagh, I fully understand where they come from. But surely you must understand the opposite side of the argument yourself, even if you are 10 generations of Irish Catholics from fucking Crossmaglen, because the same holds true for those proud fucking Northmen who come from 15 generations of planters. You know, it matters not a jot whether or not the original plantation of Ulster or earlier was a crime, does it? And I defy you to find me a sensible, rational, reasonable Republican who can say that that's not factually true. To claim that you can, I mean, what would the plan be? The only way you can get Irish unification is the way I see it. I mean, I should have just made a standalone video about this rather than did a bit of an opening monologue about it, because I like to do a comical rant during my opening monologue, and this isn't a funny subject, is it? But the point is, you can't tell me that as long as if it doesn't happen organically, i.e., if slowly but surely over centuries, all of the people in the northern counties decide, you know what, fuck it, Britain's just full of pedos. I mean, because let's be honest, the reason Sinn Féin, Shinners, did so fucking well is because of the absolute state of British nationalism. I mean, half of them are fucking morons, right, who are doing the old blood shit again, which I've got no time for. And the other half of them are completely fucking slimy, weaselly, won't stand for anything. Look at the state of the English Conservatives. They conserve nothing. How are you going to talk people on the fence over in Ulster? How are you going to talk reasonable people into thinking it's a good idea to remain part of a union, which is currently being fucking led by what? Pedo fucking royals, pedo politicians, noncy fucking House of Lords. I mean, the state of British nationalism is fucking shocking. Ragnar, you know that I'm well aware of the statistics with Northern Ireland. I have done my homework and the reading on it. Well, I was going to get to that. The point is, Unionists are far and away the majority in Northern Ireland. The reason Shinners did so well in the local elections was because of the abject failures of the current British government, and probably for the last 30 years, the cowardice and stupidity of them, the repellent behaviour of the royal family, the state of British nationalism in general. But if you were to take a simple black and white poll, and also the big one, the unresolved Brexit issues. But if you were to take a black and white poll, a simple, should we just fuck off the UK and become a united Ireland in Northern Ireland? I think, I mean, Ragnar might be able to put me right. I'm going off, maybe it's historical what I'm reading, because it's been years since I actually sat and read the literature. I would assume it would be 60-40. i.e. 60% of the current inhabitants of Northern Ireland would be unionist and 40% might be nationalist. Am I about in the ballpark there? The point I'm getting is I'm well aware that Northern Ireland is still, despite the headlines from the ridiculous wokeist media who just have a desperate desire to break up everything British, and they're actively hostile to the British state because they are communists, which is what fucking Shinners are. And most of the nationalist movements, other than English nationalists, right? The SNP are fucking commies. Sinn Féin are commies. So there's a lot of bias in the media, but ultimately, most people in Northern Ireland still want to be British, despite all of the fucking miserable, miserable failings of the current British nationalist movement. And again, I can meet the Irish nationalists halfway there as well. I understand that. Like I said, look at the fucking state of English nationalism. Look at it. You've got knuckle-dragging fucking idiots who are like the one drop of blood fucking shit that you get from the Scottish and the Irish, as if the English are somehow some sort of two-headed beast that aren't exactly the same, interbred with the Scottish, the Irish, and the Welsh. don't just want to get on with their lives and read and raise happy, healthy children and fucking maybe own a small house and be left alone by the fucking state. It's fucking quite obvious that there's a lot of reasons for why all the headlines are now saying, "Oh fucking hell, Sinn Féin are in. We're definitely going to fucking unify Ireland in the next couple of years." It's not true, and it's not an accurate representation of events. But all I would say is that whether you are unionist or nationalist or loyalist or Republican, it is a complicated, dysfunctional, difficult conversation that needs to be had. But I would urge both sides of it, fucking ridiculous, chippy Irish nationalists and ridiculous, chippy Orangemen, to fucking calm down and think about it. The people of these isles have been fucking each other for 2,000 years, longer. And the whole reason that I have a nuanced approach to it is because I fucking read history books. I don't believe that those who are really, really rabid on either side of it have got a nuanced or, in fact, a well-read version of events, a true version of events. The Scottish, I mean, look at the SNP. The shit the SNP come up with is fiction. It's fiction. They teach children in Scotland fiction. Everything that's ever gone wrong in the world was the English, and they're somehow different to the Scottish, right? The Scottish are all just and noble, and the English are all mustache-twirling, baby bayoneting fucking rapists. It's lunacy. So all I will say is I'll leave it at that. It is not as simplistic as the media have made it out to be. The numbers don't suggest that there is overall support for a united Ireland at this time, and it has to happen organically and slowly, because there is no good argument anybody can make that can tell me that after a plantation that occurred over 400 years ago, there is any moral excuse for aggressively pushing the issue and saying, you know what, if you don't fucking like it, fuck off. We'll just deport you, get in the sea, we'll deport you to Leeds. That doesn't make sense. And I don't think any sensible Irish Republican believes it. And again, I don't think all Irish Republicans are cunts at all. I understand where they're coming from. But at the same time, you have to understand their side of it if you're an Orangeman. You know, there's a long, complex history there. They do have their own unique identity. And maybe I'm not really a fucking angry bootneck on this issue, because I've read about it and I've learned about it and I've lived it to some degree. I don't see why people can't get on in the British Isles in general. Maybe that's because I'm a British nationalist rather than just an English one. I think when you look around the world and you see how little we have in common with people from fucking the Middle East and Asia and Africa, I find it astounding that people in the British Isles have such virulent hatred for each other. I can't really understand it. And that's why I've got a nuanced opinion on it all. Anyway, let's talk about the news, shall we? Yeah, I'm aware of that as well, Ragnar. I know. Basically, not much has changed, has it? Despite the numbers, not much has changed at all. The Prime Minister will be Sinn Féin, but they have to have a fucking minority, a deputy Prime Minister who's basically got the exact same powers as them. So yeah, it's bollocks. I don't think we're going to end up with a united Ireland anytime soon. The media's doing what they always do and making everything to be far more problematic than it actually is, because the media have got their agenda. And if the British government hadn't been such pathetic fucking losers and had drew a line in the sand and just told the EU to fucking suck their collective plums, I don't think Sinn Féin would have won. But as I've talked about, this is going to happen in England. This is going to happen in England because proper centre-right, normal English Conservatives won't support the Conservative Party. So your next general election, as I've been telling you fuckers for the last 2 years, the next general election, the fucking Tories are going to get twatted, which is why I keep telling you it's got to get worse before it gets better. Because until English fucking actual, sensible, reasonable English Conservatives, real ones that want to conserve our history and our culture and our way of life, for our children and our grandchildren, they won't win the next general election. So just like you're seeing in Northern Ireland, where you're getting representation that doesn't really paint the whole picture, England's getting a fucking commie government in 2024. You best believe it. You best fucking believe it. Because what have I been telling you for the last 2 years? I'll never vote Conservative again. I voted Conservative in the last general election. Boris Jellyfish fucking Johnson got my vote. Never again. Never again. And yeah, the normies don't listen. So it's not going to be a landslide to the SDP or fucking, what's Rod Little's party called? The one he's got involved with. There's like English constitution parties. There are sensible, good, smart English nationalist parties now coming out of the fort, actually conservative governments. But they cannot win the next general election, ladies and gentlemen. They cannot do it because normies don't fucking pay attention. So I've been telling you lads this for 2 years. This is guaranteed to happen. The next general election will see the commies take the reins. You're going to get a good 10, 15%, which is going to be people like you, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, that voted Conservative in the last general election and will refuse to do so again because of the cringing cowardice, stupidity, and self-serving attitude of Boris Johnson and his fucking cabinet of snakes. So the commies are going to win the next election. Trust me, you can take that to the bank. At least 10%, if we're lucky, it'll be higher. 20% will not vote Conservative at the next general election. It's not going to happen. But not enough are willing to fucking leave that stinking, rotten corpse of a Conservative party and en masse vote for and get behind one proper Conservative alternative. So you need 4 years of commie before you get a proper English Conservative party, backed by the working classes, attractive to the middle classes as well. You're not going to get it. So yeah, it is sad, Che. It's very fucking sad. And I keep telling you, this is why I'm happy over here. I mean, people have said, oh yeah, maybe move back, go to Northern Ireland, Matt. It's fucking sorted. It's got to get much, much worse in Europe before it gets better. At least here across the pond, we have got a Conservative movement. Yeah, there's some shit rhinos as well, but they know which side the bread's buttered on now. Trump's movement was so powerful. They know which side the bread's buttered on now. It's not about Trump. It's not about MAGA. But it has revitalized American nationalism. People of every color and every creed and every sexuality, because the woke stuff is complete bollocks and you all know it is. Everything. Sexuality, I mean, it's got nothing to do with anything. Your fucking politics doesn't really come from what you stick your cock in. Now, Mrs. has two relatives who are like a gay couple that live together in fucking Texas. And they vote Republican because what you stick your cock in or rub your muff up against or what colour you see when you gaze in a mirror while you're shaving, all of that shit is irrelevant to what you vote for. American nationalism is coming back thanks to the efforts of the orange fucking god. The clumsy efforts nonetheless. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. You don't need to be good at it. This is what I've told you cunts loads of times as well. You don't need to be good at it. You don't need to be clever. You don't need to be charismatic. You don't need to be charming. You just need to be right. You just need to be telling the fucking truth and saying, listen to me. You deserve to raise your children in the manner that you see fit, and your children deserve the benefits of your fucking toil. So all you have to say to working class, the masses, do you care about a random fucking Cuban child who you've never met and never will meet? Do you care about a random waif and stray from the third world as much as your own fucking children? Answers on a bastard postcard. And most people say, if pushed, yeah, I like to give to charity and I love to talk about my virtue. But of course, because it's not even slightly controversial, if I only had enough food to feed one kid, I wouldn't fucking... And you presented to me a random Somalian child or my fucking grandson, right? And said, pick one to feed. I wouldn't flip a coin. I wouldn't go, well, in the interests of fairness, ping, tails, oh, fuck off, grandson. I'm feeding this fucking stranger's child from the third world. It's not even controversial. It's not prejudiced. It's not xenophobic. It's not racist. It's not bigoted. It's a simple fact of life for an evolved fucking chimp. We don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that is the fucking, if I'm dumbing it down as much as I possibly can, but that is the reason behind the movement that is, well, nationalism on the rise. The Scottish and the Irish version might have a fucking sinister aspect to it, but it's the same principle. Those people, it's attractive to people in Ireland and Scotland, and this is why it's being co-opted by the commies, but it's an attractive thing to say to someone, shall we put our own people first rather than a random goat herder from fucking Yemen? And everybody can see it. Fuck, you can see it when they're doing it. You can see it when they're doing it. If I was like that, crusty, homeless, fucked up in a bus shelter, covered in shit, and then some fucking random Afghan bloke walks past me, and he's got a hot dog. Do you want this, mate? And then suddenly he is crying, and he looks around, and his grandson's crying. Oh, I'm hungry, Dad. I'd be like, give him the fucking hot dog, you thick twat. He's your fucking blood, isn't he? I'm just some random twat you've just set eyes on. What the fucking woke shit is it's an irrational, illogical ideology that's just created to fucking boggle your brain because that's how they think they can sneak it in under the door. It's bollocks. It doesn't make sense to normal people. Normal people realize that you put your fucking own first. And until the fucking woke cunts that run the British government realize that ideology, nationalism, not ethnic nationalism, not racial or religious or fucking anything ridiculous, just nationalism. Is it all right to put your own kids first? No, it fucking isn't. You should put some random fucking strangers' kids first. Fuck, I'll tell you what, dig some rats out the sewer, put them first. That rat mother's got rat children. Those rats are of as much right to life as your fucking grandson. Feed him to the cunt. Really? Really? Do you think that's logical or rational? You fucking lunatics. It's fucking mind-blowing to me that I have to say this stuff. Why hasn't any British politician just come out and said, what's wrong with worrying about Britain first? I mean, look at that. Rotten Politics, mate. Not Rotten. Was it Rotten Politics or We Got a Problem? I watched too much YouTube. Made a video about us not having a fucking pot to piss it. And sending billions to the Ukraine time and time and time again. We've got homeless fucking veterans in the streets in England who have been there for 10 generations. So the great-granddad paid tax. The granddad paid tax. The dad paid tax. They paid tax. Then they're homeless. Fuck them. You know what we should do? Import 10,000 men from fucking Bangladesh. Why? It's not about racism, any ism, any ist. It's not xenophobia. It's not fucking prejudice. It's not bigotry. It's common fucking sense. Should you be the one that profits from your labour? Again, answers on a postcard. And if you're some fucking pathological, narcissistic, woke, what's the polite word for fucking cunt? Tell me that honestly, sincerely. You've got enough food to feed a kid. Who do you give it to? Your own fucking son or a random twat? Flip a coin. Oh, here we go. There's a kid from Romania I've never fucking set eyes upon before. Fuck it, I'll just feed him. And don't give me that bullshit about, why can't we feed them both? That's not an answer. Because we don't live in Star Trek land. We haven't got infinite resources. We have finite resources currently in planet Earth. Invent a replicator and I'll become a fucking communist. Invent a fucking replicator so we can just walk up to a machine and go, tea, Earl Grey, hot, and it fucking appears. No labour, no effort, no growing, no tilling the fucking fields. The day that happens, ladies and gentlemen, I, the Angry Bootneck, will become a gleeful fucking socialist. But until that day, while fucking resources remain finite, that is a valid question. Who do you feed and clothe first? Your own fucking relatives or the waifs and strays from fucking Morocco? Answer it. Answer it sincerely without dodging the question. And you can't. So that's a tick in the box for nationalism. The Make America Great fucking movement wasn't about MAGA. It wasn't about Trump. It was answering that simple question. Do the working classes, do the masses, not even them, everybody, do the masses, class is irrelevant, do the masses think it's acceptable to put your own fucking first? And every single one of us that isn't insane says, yes, we do. Yes, we do. I'll pick someone at random. Oh, look, Scouse Orby, I tell you what, mate, if you only had enough fucking scran to feed your own son or the Angry Bootneck, I would say, I'll tell you what, mate, fuck it, I'll starve. I'll wander off into the wilderness. I'll find a rat to chew on. I'll bite a sheep's fucking face off. I'm a tough guy. I can handle it. Feed your own, son. Feed your own. That's not controversial. So why the fuck is it controversial if you're talking about someone from Africa or the Middle East or Asia? Because racist? No. No, it's not. It's not controversial. You're just a cunt and you lie. And you use this sneaky, devious ideology because white middle-class assholes are too scared to ever disagree with anybody that's got a tan. Oh, yeah, Mary Seacole did just as much for medical science as Florence fucking Nightingale. Oh, did she? Yeah, she ran the fucking naffy and sold fucking tabs to fucking officers. Oh, well, we can't argue with them because then they might say that I'm being a racist. So we'll just say that, yeah. Oh, yeah, and a black man invented the fucking light bulb, which is what Joe Biden said. He didn't. He fucking didn't. Didn't. British history. Oh, yeah, the black people built Britain. Didn't. That Sasha Grey fucking head like a 50 pence piece. Before she ended up with a head like a 50 pence piece, she used to use that head to talk shit in a public forum. Oh, yeah, the blacks built Britain. Fucking St. Paul's Cathedral. Yeah, black men built that. They didn't. The population of the UK was 99.99% fucking ethnically homogenous, white British in 1940. It's a fucking fact. It is a fact. If you think otherwise, you've got a head full of horse shit. Google it. And even they can't lie about it. Google would love to lie about it. But they can't. Because it's fucking true. It's true. They didn't build Britain. They didn't. 10 million slaves didn't go through Liverpool or whatever bollocks you want to come up with now. Mary Queen of Scots didn't look like fucking Beyonce. It's just bollocks. And they say that because they know people won't argue when you drop the race in there. Because they can instantly go, oh, what do you mean Queen Elizabeth I wasn't a fucking Zulu warrior with 10 brass rings round her neck and a fucking bone through her nose? What do you mean she wasn't? And they're scared. They think you're so cowardly, and the British government is, that you'll just agree. Yeah, Elizabeth I, no, she wasn't famously ginger. No, Elizabeth I, bone through her nose, fucking big daft haircut and a load of rings round her neck. That's what she looked like. Yeah, definitely. She looked like fucking Grace Jones. Grace Jones, who actually was black, right? Not like Beyonce. She's like clearly mixed with Europeans. No, Queen Elizabeth I, she wasn't ginger. She looked like fucking Grace Jones. Henry VIII, Idris Elba. And they think you'll just do what the British government will do and go, okay, then he definitely was. Definitely was. And London in 1830 looked like a fucking New York subway train in 2022. It's bollocks. And the only reason all this shit's going wrong is because of cowardly wankers in the UK. Don't you think, yeah, fair enough, Phil, I do. I over-egg the pudding. Well, you just ramble. You don't think of what's gone on 10 minutes before. Anyway, all right, I'll stop talking about it. Brunel was... I thought someone said Brunel was black then. No, it definitely wasn't. Google it. Right, let's do the fucking news. I wasn't going to do a tirade after my nice, eloquent, reasonable and centrist opinions on Northern Ireland. I was in a good mood then. And then I was reminded that all the fucking royal family were apparently as black as a fire back. And all of a sudden, I'm fucking pissed off again. It's just... book burning annoys me. And if it doesn't annoy you, there's something wrong with your fucking brain. You want your children to know anything about their own history or not? Anyway, all right, let's shut up. Putin preparing for the long war in Ukraine, US spy chief. You know the point I want to make with this story, right? I think I've used this term before. Remember Samuel L. Jackson on The Kingsman when he says, what's the spies called in America? And he's like, oh yeah, like CIA. And he's like, and what's the spooks called in Britain? And he's like, MI5, MI6. He's like, what they're called in China? And he's like, fuck knows. So just go Beijing. He goes, that's what I'm talking about. That's a secret service. What I want to know is, why the fuck can't US spies keep the bastard mouths shut? Like, we know they've totally destroyed all of the pillars of a once free society, right? We've got no trust in our institutions anymore because the commies have won, right? But why the fuck can't US spies keep the bastard mouths closed? These US spies, they call them spooks for a reason. Do you know why they call them spooks? I'll give you a clue. It's not because spooks make fucking loads of noise and they never shut the fuck up, and they wear a big neon shell suit and ride a Harley Davidson whilst playing fucking trance music from a boogie box. That's not why they call them spooks. Call them spooks because ghosts are supposed to be fucking, they're sort of ethereal and ephemeral and you can barely see them and they don't make much noise and not many people have seen them. That's why they call them spooks. We should give them a new fucking name. Big, noisy sumo wrestler in a tracksuit. That's what we should call the US spies. Massive fat giant carrying a ghetto blaster, wearing a fucking camera around the neck and a bad shell suit, marching into a Scottish pub and saying, "Gee fucking whiz, I love all those old stones and shit." That's how noisy US fucking spies are. Why are they talking to the media all the time? It seems like every single thing they learn about fucking Russia, they'll go straight to the BBC and put that on. Tell the fucking world. Putin must be laughing into his fucking Weetabix. I mean, what do you mean? Spooks. You are having a fucking laugh. What's the noisiest thing you can think of? That should be the new term for our fucking spies. In all caps. Big noisy cunts. In all caps. That's what we should call them. And in every press release, capital letters, big noisy cunts. Today, big noisy cunts. Even the newsreaders have to shout it out. Joe Biden had a meeting with the CIA. And he said that the Russians are big noisy cunts. It's lunacy. So fucking, yeah, the air horn. Every time, before you say CIA, you should press an air horn. It's fucking lunacy. So that just makes me laugh. The spy chief. Well, if you're the chief spy, mate, and you've got a mouth bigger than mine, you're the shittest spy ever. That's why I wasn't a spy. I talk shit constantly. It's a fucking curse and a gift. I can't help it. I got thrashed senseless in the car. I got thrashed till my eyes bled because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. The stripe would tell me to do something. I'd go, "Oh, fucking hell, you're having a laugh, aren't you?" And he'd go, "You little cunt, if you answer me back one more time, I will drown you in Peter's pool." I was getting thrashed constantly. I remember once, I wasn't even being a twat. I think I've told this story to Chris Thrall. When you're a recruit in the Marines, you got to do as you're told or you get fucking thrashed, senseless, right? One time was the one time I wasn't being gobby. I was stood there. We were fell in on exercise and we'd been thrashed the day before and they took us down to the pool and dunked us. They just freeze you every night because it's torture. Like every night, get in the freezing pool, crack it with your ass. I remember once they said that to me, "Taylor, you're in first. Crack that fucking ice with your ass, you gobby cunt." So I'm first in, crack the ice, freezing my tits off, gibbering all night, no sleep. The next day, I'd just about started to dry out. And the sergeant had chapped lips. And he came to he addressed us all, and he wasn't even, a rare moment of not getting thrashed. And he said, "Has anybody got a lip seal?" No, that was it. It was the opposite. He wanted Vaseline. And I think people use Vaseline to, obviously, if you're on exercise, you can rub it into your chafing on your webbing or between your thighs. And it takes the pain away, right, while you're running. And we all fell in. And he said, "Has anybody got any Vaseline?" And I thought he must have chapped lips because I used to get chapped lips on exercise because they're fucking freezing. Fucking 6 days soaking wet in a pond in the middle of the night in winter. My lips look like Weetabix at the end of it. So when he said, "Has anyone got Vaseline?" I assumed he wanted it for his lips. So I put my hand up and went, "I've got a lip seal you can have, Sergeant." And he fucking lost his rag massively, probably because he was tired. And he went, "Taylor, you fucking little cunt." Like he proper flashed. I went, "Get in that fucking puddle." Like instantly. I was literally, I was like rummaging in my pockets, thinking he was going to be buzzing that I gave him my chapstick. He was like, "Has anyone got any Vaseline? Lip seal you can have, sir. Get in the fucking puddle." And I was like, next thing, I'm in a freezing puddle in the middle of a fucking car park. It's covered in shit. I'm rolling around in it, threaders, like, and he's like, "Keep rolling, you cunt." Like, I was fucking threaders. I was covered in shit, massively depressed. horrendous it was because I'm a gobshite. So even when I'm not being a cunt, they still assume I'm being a cunt. And that's why I'm not a spy. I didn't want to be a spook because I knew I couldn't do it. You've got to know your limitations in life. I did a sponsored silence when I was in the Boy Scouts when I was about 8. In fact, no, it was the Beavers. I'm certain that fucking R. Kayla only picked a sponsored silence because she wanted me to shut the fuck up for a change. But we did a sponsored silence. I think it was an hour without talking. Worst hour of my life. Worst hour of my life. Fucking horrendous. So I wouldn't be a spy. But let me tell you, the fucking spies in Britain and America, since the war won the fucking war, it sounds like they're all like me. All of our spy chiefs, CIA, FBI, MI6, MI5, they are narcissistic woke cunts who have got Instagram and Twitter and fucking TikTok, and they can't bring themselves to shut the fuck up for more than 10 seconds. And these are the cunts running our fucking spy units. Go and figure that one out. Go and fucking figure that one out. So I'll just end with that. Mr. Spy Chief, whoever you are, US Spy Chief, shut the fuck up just once in your life. And if you can't shut the fuck up, leave, quit your job, go on fucking Dancing on Ice or Dancing with the Stars or whatever dog shit reality TV program you want. Big Brother, Nigerian fucking Big Brother, they'll have you. They'll take half the Met apparently and get a new job. Because you are wholly unsuited for being a spy chief if your fucking mouth moves 10 times faster than your bastard feet. All right? Okay, I'll have a sip of tea and then I'll talk about the spouse visas, which fucking pissed myself laughing at. That's better. Tea, no sugar, spot on. Right, so this one. Let's have a look at this. First things first. Obviously, this is a new story. I'm going to be showing you some older ones because, as I've said to you many times before, the real problem that the British government and the wokists and the commies have in general is that reality gets in the way. And because people that aren't deranged have a memory span that's better than that of a drunk goldfish, we remember reality. And I've told you guys this before, the amount of times you'll be reading something on the BBC and you just go, I know that's fucking bollocks. Because I was reading a paper 7 years ago that totally contradicted that. This is why the BBC and the woke have got a problem. Because when they try and convince you that up is down and left is right, that Henry VIII looked like Idris Elba, you go, hang on, I remember that from school. School's another good example I've used before of why you know what the makeup of the UK was before you got lied to by the BBC. Because, as I've said before, if you think Britain has always been black and Asian and African and, you know, fucking turn on a TV program set in World War II, there's Winston Churchill on the fucking underground having a chat with a little Chinese fella, a big black dude, and a fucking some Luscan sailors, and you go, okay, now that's definitely bollocks. That. Go back and look at your school photograph. There's my answer. Anyone in the chat who's over the age of about 30, because that's how recent all this is. You're over the age of about 30. Go and have a look at your school photo. Now where you got your class picture. We used to do a year one. The whole school year stood on the field once a year for your yearly photo. Go and have a fucking look at your school photo and then come back to me and tell me with a straight face that Britain has always been full of BIPOC and BAME. Go on, run off and do it and come back and tell me. Tell me what you see. Because if you've got a fucking school photo took between about 1950 and not even, I was going to say 1999, but fucking even then, it wasn't that diverse in Britain. 2001, 2002, there was no fucking immigrants. In the UK was as homogenous as Japan in 1950. There you go. There was one in your secondary school, and Hoy is about what, 43? I think he's a year or two older than me. One in your secondary school, and his mum was white, so there wasn't a black kid. There was one mixed race kid. Now, I'm asking the chat because I'm aware that in places like Middlesbrough, it's not really it's not really a good sample. Hartlepool's even worse. Hartlepool, my mate Jimmy told me that there was one black family moved into the town in like 2001 and the whole fucking city freaked out. It was like the mob chasing fucking Frankenstein's monster. Get him! Torches. That's fucking Hartlepool. So I'm asking for a nice big sample size, but I'm telling you, it could even be in the Greater London area. If you went to school in the 80s, there was no black kids in your school. So they can tell you as many times as they want. They can burn all the books. They can fucking rewrite the history books. They can bulldoze the libraries and they can make the TV programs. We've all got our fucking school photographs and we've all got memories. Thanks, communist. Another one of gaslight. I want to make you doubt yourself, but we've all got memories. Thanks, communist. So let's get on to this spousal visa issue. This admin issue has stopped our lives. So here we get two people, neither of which is the comedy the people have picked. Neither of these people complaining about the UK spousal visa was born in Britain. Neither of them. They've gone with it thinking, oh, finally, we've got some white people. Oh, those dumbass white hillbillies won't read this further than seeing the photograph. Neither of these two twats were born in Britain. It says, couples kept in separate countries by a visa backlog say the Home Office has failed to tell them how long delays might be. Boo-hoo. Why would the Home Office want to have a delay? Well, I'll fucking show you why they should have a delay very soon. Don Bernard, 49, and Heather grew up in South Africa and have been together for 13 years. It says grew up in South Africa, probably born there, because it doesn't say either of them were born in the UK. It says they got married in a Lord of the Rings themed ceremony 5 years ago. How very fucking BBC. You knew a couple that are getting championed by the BBC. It wouldn't just say they got married in a church. No. Top and tails for him, white dress for her. No. This is how they get married. People that fucking appear on the BBC with plastic ears on. I mean, how old are you? I've told you this before. The Bootneck's not a judgmental man. My initial screed about Northern Ireland should tell you that the Bootneck is not a judgmental man. I'll give anyone any leeway if they're under about 30. I will. I was fucking daft when I was a kid. I'll hold my hands up. When I was 23, I was fucking daft. I used to dress like a twat. Always wear board shorts everywhere. I thought I was like a cool, hip, surfer skate dude. Bit of a wanker. So I've held my hands up and said, you know what? I'll give anyone a bit of leeway if they're young. 18 to 30. I pick Club 1830 as my nice metric to use the measurement of, because Club 1830 old is for fucking young dickheads, right? So 30 is my line in the sand. If he was under 30, I wouldn't torture him for getting dressed like that and getting fucking married. But when you get to the big 3-0, if you're going out in skin-tight pink cords where I can count your individual testicles through your fucking trousers, and you're wearing like a cravat and you've got a man bun and a big daft beard, you're a fucking knobhead. You are a look at me person. You know, Douglas Murray calls these fucking they, them twats look at me people. You're a look at me person. If you're in your fucking 40s or your 50s and you get married looking like that, you're a fucking dickhead. If they were only 26, I wouldn't be having a pop. I wouldn't. Not judgmental. But look at the state of them. What a pair of fucking choppers. Look at me with my pointy ears on. Fuck off. I said that. I picked pink cards because I actually did see this when I was in Pasadena. I was having a drink in Pasadena. It was when Middlesbrough played Manchester City. That's how I remember the date. So what was that? 4 or 5 years ago now? When Middlesbrough somehow beat Manchester City in the fucking FA Cup. At their ground as well. And I was having a great morning, having a good drink, watched the game. I'd had a few pints, loving life. And then I walked outside and there's a bloke there who's about 40 and he's wearing like pink skin-tight cords. And I believe I did turn to my missus and say, fucking hell, I can see both of his plums, the silly cunt. And like a big fluffy shirt that looks ridiculous, like big fluffy fucking sleeves on it. Like he's one of the 3 Musketeers. And a man bun, and he's fucking vaping outside the bar. And I was like, What a fucking dickhead. Like, he's older than me, him. My initial thing was always, he's older than me, that cunt. Because I was a dickhead when I was 23. Maybe I would have wore pink fucking cords and a fluffy shirt and a cravat when I was 23 if that was all the rage. But not when I was 33. And then when you pass 40, fucking seriously, have a word with yourself. Unless you raided the fucking clothing bin behind the Salvation Army, unless you got abducted in the middle of the night, dragged away down an alley by 10 homosexual rapists, used and then ditched naked in a fucking alleyway, and then were forced to just pull clothes at random out of a Salvation Army clothing bank and then walk home. Unless that happened to you, there is no excuse for any man over the age of 30 wearing pink cords and a fucking man bun. Sorry. So this fucking dickhead, there he is. Neither of them born in the UK. It says Dion's mother was British and he was granted British citizenship 3 years ago. So neither of these two twats were born in Britain. Neither of them. His mother was British, so he was granted British citizenship 3 years ago. So he's not fucking British. He's, okay, as of 3 years ago, he was British, but he's not exactly. This fucking story, it's not red-blooded Englishman who's been with his missus for 15 years is getting fucked over by the Home Office because the Home Office is just right-wing cunts. No, it's two fucking sad bastards who weren't born in Britain are whinging because they want to be able to move to Britain faster than they are, and they're both going to end up moving to fucking Britain anyway. So why am I ranting about it? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the Home Office under Priti Patel is woke, and they haven't done the fucking job properly, and they haven't stopped the dinghy divers, and they haven't shored the border up, and they've hardly deported anybody, even if they're rapists and murderers and paedophiles. And we let in I nearly said Homer Aberdeen. Isn't that like the silly fucking mayor that was married to that sex pest in America? There's too many political names floating around in my head. Salman Abedi. The Abedi fuckers who killed a load of women and kids in Manchester came from Libya. They weren't fucking, they're not British. So dare I suggest that maybe, just maybe, despite what the BBC is telling us, it would be a good idea if the Home Office did their due fucking diligence and actually made it a little bit more difficult to get fucking visas to come to the UK, because neither of these cunts were born in the UK, and one of them only got his UK citizenship 3 paltry years ago, and they seem to be suggesting, oh my God, doing basic checks and balances, this is beyond the pale. We should just let anybody with an arsehole move to London. Fuck off. Suck my fucking hairy beanbag. We've got people that move to Britain and industrial rape children, torture little kids, blow fucking women and babies up. Don't fucking tell me that because these cunts have got a bit of an admin issue and they might have to wait a couple of months, oh, fucking hell, the world's split open. I don't care if two twats with pointy ears need to wait a little bit before they start fucking dropping out taxpayer-supported children left, right, and Chelsea. Although they're a bit old for that, mercifully. And I'm not going to bore you with the numerous stories that I dug up regarding visas, because I've been here nearly an hour, but there's fucking plenty of them. There's a famous one. Thousands use fake life scam to get into the UK. This was back in 2017 when the BBC was slightly more fucking interested in actual news and didn't cover up fucking visa scams. Thousands of people are faking living in Ireland to get family members into the UK. Scam involves UK nationals want to bring in relatives from outside the European Economic Area, multi-million-pound fraud, and dead women and kids and tortured fucking children and fucking dead babies and grooming gangs, and Emily Jones getting decapitated by a foreign fucking psychopath in the middle of bastard Manchester, I would suggest should have more precedence than, oh, we've got pointy ears and I might not see my wife for 3 weeks, even though neither of us were born in the UK. Nobody fucking cares. Nobody fucking cares. Who wears white socks? I wear white socks to these. They're free. They've got issue. Desi socks. Some of Bootneck's favourite socks. Sorry. Not when I'm wearing a suit, though. Just so you know. And here's another good one. He's a great one. I couldn't find a photograph of them, right? Because they've obviously airbrushed the internet. But here's another good one. I remember it because Might have been about 10 years ago. I don't remember when it was. I used to be a big comic book fan. Read all of Alan Moore's work. Fucking great stuff back in the day. I read this story because I remember Alan Moore got involved because he knows the bloke. And he got involved with it and said, oh, it was disgraceful. Because Alan Moore is a great writer, but he's a fucking socialist knobhead. And he got involved and said it's disgraceful that the Tory government won't let my mate bring his fucking mail order bride over dead easy. And I remember Googling it at the time and reading up on the fucking story and going, Jesus H. Christ. Is he having a laugh? There's no photograph. Seriously, I looked for like 5 minutes Googling. I Googled Graham and Paula Cousins and I couldn't find a good photo of them. Nowhere to be found, but trust me on this. Oh, there's one. Here we are. I found one. There's that. All right. Fuck off. Disagree. There we go. Found one. So that made a liar of me. I fucking didn't see that one last time. There's the photo, just so you know. So, comic book genius Alan Moore donates 10 grand to help a couple embroiled in an immigration row. Just so you can see what I'm talking about here. There's Graham Cousins with his wife. Now, I don't want to sound cynical. I don't want to sound like I'm pouring scorn on true love, destiny, right? But I would suggest that when you're a baggy-faced, balding pensioner who looks like fucking death warmed up and you're fucking a 25-year-old from a third world country, I would suggest it's acceptable for the government to be a little bit skeptical of your claims to be hopelessly in love. Just putting it out there. What do you think? Anyone, again, Bootneck's being rational as always. Anyone think I'm being out of order there? He's having a pop at David Cameron there. Still together, Dave. What's the next stunt you're going to pull on us? Fucking Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Palpatine, he's got them big black bags under his eyes. I would suggest that the Home Office, after we've had... Bootneck, tell everyone about your interview chat and post a link. What interview? I've done a few by now, Bob. You'll have to let me know what you're on about, mate. I would suggest after all those dead women and children in Manchester because of Libyan immigrants, even though we knew there were jihadis because Colonel Gaddafi was hunting them, I would suggest that after Manchester bombing, that after London Bridge stabbings, that after Lee Rigby, that after, I mean, I can go all day. 7/7, bus explosions, tube stabbings, I would suggest that after all of the death and chaos and misery, that after the endemic grooming gangs, the industrial rape of children, the torture, the abuse, the people traffickers, the fucking Albanian gangsters, all of it, I would suggest that it is both morally right. Oh, and Emily Jones is the cherry on top. Little blonde girl who got a fucking head lopped off by a psycho fucking foreigner. Google it if you don't know the name. That is the fucking little blonde cherry on top. I would suggest after all that death and misery and suffering, the Home Office doing their due fucking diligence for a change and actually aggressively vetting the collection of third world fuckers that want to move to the UK on a whim. I would suggest that is not just a good idea. It is moral, it is just, and it is noble. Because women and children deserve to be protected by the state. Nay, it is the only real job of the state is to fucking protect the people that fund it and vote for the people that run it. The number one job of the state is to protect the people. And if allowing in third world strangers results in the death of women and children and the industrial torture of and abuse of little girls, it is moral and just to ask the question, does this young woman really want to marry this baggy-faced, Palpatine-looking, fucking drink under the dartboard, clumsy beekeeper-looking baldy cunt? Answers on a fucking postcard if you think that's me being out of line. Okay, let's end it there. You can have about an hour and 1 minute there. You can have that for now, you twats. I'm going to do a giveaway again soon. My finger's back to normal. I can draw, well, nearly. It's still a little bit bent. I can draw now. I'm going to draw something and I'm going to give it away because you type fuckers, I haven't had a can in weeks of none of you. So if you want to win a picture drawn by yours truly, click on the can bank, send me £1. All you need to do is put £1 in and I'll put your name in the fucking hat. Thanks for watching. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. No, I haven't finished it yet. We'll do it soon. Anyway, Uncle Fester, that's another good one. Two-tone, well done. Right, so thanks for watching. And yeah, cheers. I'll see you all tomorrow. Jolly good.